Hey divas, welcome, welcome, welcome. Please let me know if you can hear me. I have checked my mic. I don't have myself on mute. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat before we move forward. Please let me know if you can hear me. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Okay, I see a one in the chat. Happy Tuesday. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Pink Table Topics. I am your host and your good sis, Pink Diva. Thank you so much for joining me. As you're pulling your seat up to the table, please don't forget to hit that like button for me. Feel free to drop down and leave a comment. Also, make sure you are engaging in the topic and turn those bell notifications on so that you'll be notified each and every time I drop a new topic. As you know, our mission is to create a safe space for women to gather as a community, engage in healthy dialogue regarding real life issues that we as women deal with on a daily basis, but most importantly, to foster the true meaning of sisterhood. And if you are here, that means you are subscribed and representing the Diva tribe. And we're not just any diva. We are destined, we're inspired, we're valiant, and we're admirable. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the table, divas. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Let me go ahead and get my motivational quote of the day out of the way. Today it is, because of our topic, our motivational quote of the day is: real love isn't about saving them, it's about being strong enough to let them save themselves. Again, real love isn't about saving them, it's about being strong enough to let them save themselves. And when we finish deep diving into this topic, you'll understand where this quote is coming from. But happy Tuesday. How y'all doing? Happy Tuesday to each and every one of you that are here. Let me go up and do my divas roll call. My sis Chit Chat is in the building. Hey sis, she's also my mod. Hey sis, thanks for joining sis. Are you still working today? My diva, my sis Teresa is here. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you both for modding for me. You know I love me some you. Hey, Deborah, thanks for joining, sis. I appreciate you. Hey, Cece. Cece is in the house. Hey, Angela. Angela says, Pink Diva, how are you doing today? Just wanted to let you know I'm working, but I'm listening. Thank you for listening in, sis. I really, really appreciate you. Thank you for joining me. Hey, Lisa. Thanks for joining. Lisa Love is in the house. Thank you. I really do appreciate you. My sis said, welcome, divas. Thank you for pulling up to the table on Pink Table Topics. Please hit the like button on your way in, click that notification bell, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. Thank you so much, sis. Thank you. Yes, please make sure you hit the like button on your way in. Feel free to share the video and make sure you drop down, engage in the topic. We have a good topic today. I think it's a good topic. But again, welcome, welcome. Like I was saying, I hope you had a great weekend and you're having a great start to this new week, regardless of what it is that you may be going through or what we're going through in this crazy world. Oh my goodness. I pray that all is well with each of you and your families. We're also continuing to send up prayers for those of you, us, or whomever that may be dealing with any illnesses, any losses, or just having a hard time trying to find balance in this thing called life. There is a lot going on in the world, not only just in the world, in a lot of our personal lives as well. But through it all, we know God is still God. So prayers up to each and every one of you. Thank you for being here. Hey, Follow Me Black TV. Thanks, sis, for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. And let's go ahead. I'm not going to hold you all long, but thank you all for joining. To those of you that are in the bushes that are listening in, I appreciate you for being here. Please make sure you do me a favor and drop down and hit that like button, and please continue to listen in. And to those of you that's in the chat, engage in our topic, because we have a great topic today. And I wanted us to go ahead and dive into this topic because I feel like it's one that we don't talk about enough. We don't talk about this enough. Yes, thanks, Teresa. Teresa said praying for all of us. Yes. We are praying for all of us. Um, but I feel like this topic isn't something that we talk about enough. My sis Chit Chat and I were texting back and forth. I believe, was it yesterday, sis, or the day before? Um, Either way, we got to catch up too verbally. Texting is good, sis, but we got to catch up on the phone so I can hear your voice. But anyway, we was talking about some personal situations surrounding this topic, and she had mentioned to me that she thought it would be a good topic for us to discuss, and I told her I was definitely adding it to our topic for today because it's definitely a topic that I feel like is needed and we need to talk about it. So tonight we're going to step into a topic that I feel like may hit home for many of us in some form or fashion, especially us as women, mothers, daughters, siblings, or, even friends. So, my question that I'm starting off, I'm posing this question at the beginning, and we're going to get into our topics. Can parents love the bad out of their adult children? Can parents love the bad out of their adult children? It's a good topic. Sis said yes yesterday. Okay, thank you, sis. Thank you, sis. Can parents love the bad out of their adult children? How many of you have had to deal with difficult adult children? We're talking about adult children. We're not talking about the children who are young, um, adolescents. We're talking about adult children that are of age, difficult adult children, or just witness your parents have to deal with one of your siblings that was a difficult adult child. And I'm talking about, like I say, I'm talking about those grown kids who may be battling addiction, caught up in a destructive type relationship, emotionally unavailable, manipulative, or just flat out making bad decisions after bad decisions. Have any of you had to deal with an adult child such as that? Or have you had to witness your parent deal with one of your siblings that were a quote unquote bad child? Angela says, yes, we could. Follow Me Black TV says, not all the time. Teresa says, my stepson was very difficult to deal with. And I want to talk about it because not only, and I'm coming from a perspective, I'm basically coming from both ends of the spectrum. Talking about it from a sibling standpoint and also a mom that at one point had to deal with a difficult adult child. And when I say difficult, I'm saying one in the sense of just continuing to make bad decisions that would possibly cause us financial loss, if that makes sense. Follow Me Black TV says some of these adults already set in their mindset. Absolutely, absolutely. Sis said, dealt with it since I was born, shaking my head. And sis, that was a long time. And to see it, and just with you saying that, just viewing it from a sibling standpoint, I have as well seen and had to witness my parents deal with it since, and I'm the baby, just like you are. So it's unfortunate. Hey, Erica, thanks for joining, sis. I appreciate you for being here. Thank you. Thank you. So I've had to deal with it. So my question is, where do or should parents draw the line between support and enabling? Because a lot of times what we deem as maybe us being the supportive parent and just trying to be there, for the kid and just trying to walk them through possibly getting it together. And where do you draw the line between support and enabling? Because I personally think there's a fine line between support and a fine line between enabling. Teresa also says sometimes trying to love the bad out of them handicaps them because you start to enable them. Great point. Great point. Great point. Because from my spectrum and what I'm witnessing with my sibling, there's a lot of manipulation going on. I haven't witnessed there being an addiction issue outside of addicted to lying. I haven't witnessed it being anything as far as like a substance abuse or anything. I haven't witnessed it, but I have witnessed a lot of manipulation going on, and there's a lot of enabling going on from my dad. And it didn't just start when I look back, because when I was, trying thinking about the circumstances leading up to us even having this topic, and and I look back, like tried to look back over our childhood and trying to see like, where did this boy go wrong? Like, and again, we came from the same parents, both same mom and same dad, raised in the same exact household under the same rules. And I was just trying to figure out like, where did he go wrong versus my sister and I. And all I can remember is I did witness a lot of enabling when it came to my brother. Both on both sides, from my mom and dad, like they really did a lot of enabling when it came to my brother. And I don't know if it was because he was the only boy or what the case may be, but they never held him accountable for his action, always excusing his behavior when me or my sister or any other family member tried to bring it up to him, and especially my dad. And this is what I'm witnessing today, like today in present time. Just, my dad still enables him, and he's older than me. um and for the life of me, I just really can't wrap my mind and my head around, I just can't wrap my head around it. Like, what's really going on, and why is it that he continues to just allow him to manipulate him? But then, yet, when you bring it to his attention, he is um, excusing his behavior. So I just haven't. So, to those of you in the chat, have you ever felt like you were trying to save an adult child in the name of love? Because a lot of times, we want to say, especially as parents, we want to say that we have unconditional love when it comes to our children, and we keep excusing their behavior. Um, and a lot of times we'll say, well, because I love them, I want to see them do well, which we all do, be it our siblings or an actual child. Just speaking from my point of view, my oldest child, like it took her a minute to get it right. She's doing great today. But it was a point in her life as an adult, we were having like constant back and forth because she continued to make bad decisions when it came to like making good decisions, just different life decisions, telling her, "No, don't do that. I wouldn't do that if I was you, because this gonna happen, that's gonna happen." And when she didn't listen, and those things actually start to happen, it was always, now she want to run, to me to bail her out of these situations. Or, I remember one time her car got repoed, and she cried hysterically, "Oh, my car got repoed and this." I said, "Well, were you paying the car note? What do you think? These people gonna come and get their vehicle if you're not paying the car note." Mind you, it was a car that I had co-signed for her. And I told both my girls, you get one co-sign in your lifetime. One. And depending on how you do with that situation, it would determine if you get another one. And mind you, to this day, my youngest daughter will be 31 years old in October, and she has not used her cosign yet. Everything she's done, she's got it on her own. But my oldest daughter, she used her cosign. She didn't do right by it. And then she actually got a whole attitude because she wanted another one. So that car ended up getting repoed. So fast forward a few years after that, she ended up wanting to get another vehicle. She had gotten a car and ended up getting in an accident that wasn't her fault. The other person did not have insurance. They ended up totaling her vehicle. But what happened with the amount of money that they were getting ready to offer her for the total, still left her owing a balance on what she was already paying with that particular car. So in order for her or them to give her another one, she had to come out of pocket and pay that part first. So she was looking to me and wanted me to, co-sign for her to be able to do it and get another vehicle. And I said, I'm not doing that. I love you, true enough, but this is a situation that you're going to have to do. Like, I can't always be readily available for you financially when you keep making, bad decisions and you just keep going. It was always like a financial type situation to where she constantly needed financial help. And I was like, well, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to, look at your income, put you on a budget, live below your means, and don't spend this much on that. The same help and advice that I was giving my younger daughter, I was giving to her. But for whatever reason, she was just one of these kids that felt like, I'm going to continue hitting my head up against this brick wall and knocking it to the white meat until I decide to finally listen. Like, she didn't believe that meat was greasy, like my grandma would say. And you could tell her over and over again, don't do this, don't do that. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. And she continued to do it. And eventually I had to back off. I had to back off, and I had to show tough love. I really had to back off. So I don't get it. And it's hard. It's not an easy decision, and it's hard. Follow Me Black TV says, I was one and I have birthed one. Every situation is different. Good point. And you're right. Every situation is different. Every situation is different. Teresa says they master manipulation and lying. Absolutely. Hey, Mama V. Thanks for joining, sis. Absolutely. Erica says parents sometimes think that they have to make them feel the sacrificial lamb for their adult children. I totally agree. Hey, April. Thanks for joining, sis. I appreciate you. Erica also said, once adult children realize that you will sacrifice yourself for their wants, they will take you down if their hearts is not in the right place. Girl, you can say that again. You hear me? And that's why I don't feel like it's good to spoil the children. I really don't, because, and again, like Follow Me Black TV was saying, it's an individual contribution. Each kid, each person is totally different. It's totally different, where you make and spoil one and they turn out to be a great kid and go on with life and do the things that they're supposed to do in society. But then on the other hand, it could be because they're so sheltered and so spoiled, they just can't adapt to real life in real life situations. So I totally get it. You are so right. Teresa said, my oldest brother-in-law stayed in trouble and accused everyone for treating him like the black sheep of the family. They tried to love him and buy his love. Yes. And you know what? They are so quick to try to label themselves as being the black sheep. Don't nobody love me. I have to get it on my own. No, because they're not accustomed to people telling them no. Like, you can only do so much. And they continue to use and just abuse your kindness to the point to where they are constantly, every time something in life goes wrong. And I'm sitting here like, at this point, you are a whole adult. You have to make decisions that are best fit for your life. And if you're not making those decisions, don't be bringing that stuff to your parents' doorstep. It's nothing wrong with an adult child coming to a parent and getting advice, right? And we always are readily available to give advice to our adult children. But if you're not taking that advice, and then it's another thing for you're coming because you need financial support for that bad decision that you continue to make. And it's not just one, it's constant. Like, every time something is going wrong in my brother's life, it always ends up on my dad's doorstep. And that irritates my whole soul, because as a grown adult man with children and grandchildren at this big age, you are still going through these same situations like you're not a kid anymore. And I just feel like, my dad just continues to buy into this and just continue to enable this behavior. And it's just, to me, it's weird, because I was never that person. I've never been that bad, quote unquote, bad kid that, my parents had to spend so much extra time with trying to beat it in my head to just get my life together. Follow Me Black TV says, in my opinion, we make efforts, but at some point, cut the umbilical cord. Real talk. You are so right. Sis said, tough love is hard, but needed. Very needed. Hey, Rosemary. Thanks for joining, sis. I appreciate you for being here. Hey, Babette. Hey, my sis. Thanks for joining. Erica says, you were correct in doing that. Absolutely. You have to cut the cord. You have to cut the cord. Sis said, it's so selfish for adult kids to do this, period, but especially with elder parents. Yes, especially. Hey, Keisha. Thanks for being here, sis. Teresa says it's horrible. They drag the parents through it and make them feel guilty. Then they feel like they owe them. You know what? Great point. Hey, Sharon, thanks for joining. You're right. That's a great word. They make them feel guilty. They make the parents feel guilty. Oh my goodness. They absolutely do. Um, so my next question is, do you at one point in your life think that you were that child that your parents tried to love the bad out of? Have you just taken a deep dive into ourselves? Again, this is a safe space. We don't judge. We listen. We don't judge. Have you in your life, can you remember a point in your life, that in your adult life, that you feel like you were that child that your parents had to try to love the bad out of? And none of us are perfect. Like I say, I really, really feel like I was a good kid because I was a kid that didn't like asking for anything anyway. I never liked asking my parents for something. I really, really had a go getter mindset at a very, very, very early age. And if I did ask, excuse me, if I did ask for something one time, that's all I was asking. And if they told me no, I wasn't a whiner. I wasn't a person. I wasn't that kid that would just keep going back and, whining until you get it. And that's what my brother was. He was that kid. If he was told no, he would just whine until they're like, here, boy, just take it. And I think it just grew up in him. And I didn't. And like I say, my parents got us everything that we wanted and then some. We didn't lack anything. But if there was something that I wanted or something, I would ask. But I don't even remember in my adult life having to even ask my parents for things. And I'm really trying to reach back and remember, um outside of, I think I was having car issues one time and I just needed to use my mama's vehicle to get to work or something. But in my adult life, and I'm talking adults, not kids, and us asking for our parents for help as a child. I'm talking about you grown and gone type out of the household. But my brother is the kid that in his adult life, like I say, um, like even today, he's back at my dad's house. He's back in the home with my dad. And keep in mind, he's older than me. He's back in the home because of, again, of bad decisions, him in and out of these relationships with these women, and he losing the house, and not having a vehicle, and the women putting him out. And every time something goes wrong in his life, he is right back in my dad's house, and my dad continues to keep that revolving door open for him to come in and out of it. And it's sickening to me. It's sickening, but I cannot do anything about it because he loves his boy. Like Marlene said, he loves his boy. April says, my oldest son had to learn the hard way. He came home to regroup, but he thought he was going to sit here and not work. I told him he had to go. He has moved out and is doing very well now. And you know what, April? Um, that's a great sign of tough love. And I had to do that same thing to um, my daughter, my adult daughter. And I tried to tell them, the thing that you have to realize and understand, age ain't nothing but a number. I don't care how old you get. My house, my rules. If I say my door is going to be locked and nobody coming in and out at 10 o'clock, you have to respect that. If I say I don't want your little friends in and out of my house, you have to respect that. I don't care how old you are. And that was the situation that I was having with my daughter. Like, I shut down at a certain time. I'm in the house. My house is clean. The kitchen is clean. Like, everything is shut down. I'm going to bed at a certain time so I could get up for work at a certain time. And it was times that I would get up in the middle of the night, and this heifer had niggas up in the house, walking in there to go to the kitchen and had friends and stuff. Girl, when I say that kind of stuff was like an issue for me, and I had to let her know, like, you know what? If you want to have friends to come and go at your house all time of the night, you got to get you somewhere to stay, because it will not be happening up in here. And I literally had to put her out. I say, because we both grown women and we can't live together. My house, my rules. You don't get to just do what you think you want to do up in here. Half wanted to go to work, could get a job, been working since she was 15 years old, kept a job. She could keep getting jobs, but she wasn't keeping jobs. She had no longevity on her jobs, and thought that she could just sit in my house and, like April was saying, just be lazy, not work and not contribute. You're not a kid. I'm not responsible for you in your adult life. You have to get up and get a job and pay your own way. You're not going to sit up and get to enjoy my free cable while I'm going to work and working, 40 plus hours a week. And you get to sit here and enjoy the fruits of my labor. You get to enjoy watching my cable more than I'm watching my cable. You get to sit here and think you're going to cook my food or have the nerve to ask me, did I buy this or that at the grocery store? What are you contributing? What are you contributing? Absolutely. Hey, Keisha, if I didn't speak to you, sis. Hey, Cricket. Thanks for joining, sis. Sis said, see that tough love work, April. Absolutely. And I think that's what we have to do. I think we have to, start quick and show them that tough love. Like, we're not going to do this. And when you take your hands off of them, and that's what happened with my daughter when she saw, I say, you know what? I said, this is how you need to look at life. I really had to sit her down and have a conversation. I said, you have to look at life as if you are the only one in this world to get out here and make things happen for yourself. I'm not going to always be here with you. Your daddy ain't going to always be here. Granddaddy ain't going to always be here. I say, we're getting older. I say, tomorrow is not promised to any of us. What if you didn't have us to call on? What were you going to do at this point? I say, so you have to live to make sure that you can take care of your own well-being without our financial help. We're not going to always be readily available. Can I call you and ask you to borrow a few dollars because I'm short or I don't have it? See, this is how it works. And again, like April was saying, this is what you have to do. You have to put your foot down and you have to show that tough love. And it's hard. It's not always easy because you want, as a parent, you want to see your kids do well. You want to see them thrive and all of that stuff. But we can't enable them because if there's no incentive for them to get out there and get it done for themselves, they're not going to do it. If they get to have their cake and eat it too and just sit up at the house and be lazy and eat and sleep for free and not have to contribute to anything, do you think they're going to be in any hurry to have to get up and get out? Absolutely not. Erica says, a good test to see if you are spoiling your children or grandchildren, give them $2 and take them to dollar store. Right, because if they start thinking the Dollar Tree is beneath them, then it's the problem, huh? Lisa says, I have adult siblings that I've had to treat with tough love, help them and their children. Now expect help with their grandchildren. I surprised everyone, retired early and cut them off financially. I know that's right. I know that's right. And that's where I am, especially with my brother. For whatever reason, he thinks I am the financial provider, which I am for my dad. But the problem I'm having with that is I'll be darned if I'm helping my dad financially and you're big grown behind sitting up in his house and not contributing and you get to live off of my dollar. That's where the discord is coming from. And that's where my pissivity, which I don't know if that's a word, but that's where my pissivity is coming from. That's where I'm frustrated and that's what I'm upset. And this is what I be trying to drive to my dad. Like, I'm always available to help you, but I have a huge problem helping you while you help your son that's out here not trying to do anything because he should be the one helping you. It shouldn't be the other way around. And I just feel like as parents, as we're aging and as our parents are aging, this is the time for them to really be able to live a soft life and be able to just enjoy the rest of the time that they have here on this earth because they've raised us and we've raised our adult children. Now it's time for them to be off making better decisions. So when we get sick and are ailing in our bodies, then it's time for them to pick up the torch and take care of us. So I have a real problem with that. Teresa says, we gave our boys anything they wanted as well. But when they turned 18, we started backing off and giving them anything. We raised them to work just like us. But my stepson was a whole different story. Girl, listen. And this just shows just how different our kids can be. We could have two kids and they'll be like oil and water, totally different. And I remember a long time ago, my dad told me, he was like, if you have two kids and at least one of them turn out good, you did something right. Because I don't, and if you have more than one and they all turned out to be great, kudos to you. If you didn't have to go through this hard stage, as I would call it, with any of your children. Erica says, I wasn't perfect and my parents didn't play. They were fair, but they didn't play. Girl, mine didn't either. And that's the thing I don't understand. We had very strict parents, and I just don't know where my brother missed the mark. And I think it just goes back to my parents being really lenient with him because he was the only boy. That's the only thing he got so many perks under the gals of being the only boy. Mama V says, my son thanked me for removing my hands off him and allowing God to be God. Look at God. That's what I'm talking about. And you know what? My daughter the same way today. To this day, she'll tell me, and we talk every single day. And she'll tell me, she say, thank you. And it's just so funny how seeing her with her own stuff and how now she don't even want people at her house. She don't want people coming to her house. She don't invite people over. And I say, you know what? I say, that's just really weird coming from a person who always wanted your little friends in and out of my house all the time. But it's so funny how when they actually get it and start getting it. And, and I do know that all kids advance at different levels, and age has nothing to do with it. You can be an older sibling and your younger sibling can just be doing a whole lot better than you at the age that you are. So kids develop differently. And I just don't understand what happened to a lot of these older siblings. That's the thing that really boggles me. What happened to a lot of these older children? I really don't get it. Sis said, I think help from parents up until college graduation is okay. That's full-time college students, though. My siblings and I all had jobs as teenagers, but it wasn't a requirement. Yep, I totally agree, sis. I totally agree. And if you choose to not go to college, which every kid, college is not for everybody. So we never force college onto our girls. But if they chose that they wanted to go to college, then kudos to you. But if you choose to not, you got to get a job. You will not just sit around up in my house all day, every day. You are going to either go to school or you're going to get a job so that you can contribute to this household, and you're going to help pay rent, and you're going to help pay some bills up in here, not just a free ride. Unless you're actually you have a goal that you're saving up for. Because one of the requirements when my girls were graduating, when you graduate and you want a vehicle, I'll match whatever you save up and we'll help you get a vehicle. That was an incentive. That was to give them some, a goal to work toward. And it was the same with both girls. They both were treated equally. Erica says, my household rule is that the house doorknob doesn't turn after a certain time. Get a hotel if you're going to be a girl. And that was my parents. You can't come up in here all time of the night, not all up and through my house. You can't do that. Sis says, sorry, I didn't speak individually. I'm eating crab legs, but happy Tuesday to you. Girl, you eat some crab legs, sis. Now you got me want some crab legs. I just made some tuna. And them crab legs sound good. Girl, I've been wanting me a good crab boil for a minute. Teresa said, pistivity is a word my drill sergeant used to use. He said we pissed him off to the highest degree of pistivity. I use that word on my boys and not my grandchildren. I don't heard it. I was like, I don't know if it's a real word, but it is what it is. It is what it is. My next question: how do you balance love and boundaries with an adult child who keeps making destructive choices? Those of you that's had to balance love and boundaries when it came to your adult child, or to those of you who've had to balance love and boundaries when it comes to a sibling. Because a lot of times, for those of us who don't have children, a lot of times we've witnessed these things happening with our siblings, adult siblings. Like, how do you balance love and boundaries? Because a lot, like we were saying earlier, it pulls on your heartstrings, because as a parent and as a sibling that really loves, your sibling or your child, we want to see them do good. We don't want to see them hurt. But Like, how do you balance that? Is there such a thing as loving your child too much? Because then what happens when that love turns into enabling? What happened when love turns into enabling? Is there such a thing as loving a child too much? Keisha says, I charged my 24-year-old rent. She went around the whole family telling them that they all thought I was wrong for it. Girl, I was having my girls were working. My dad didn't even want my girls working. See, my dad did a lot of spoiling to my daughters as well, especially my oldest daughter. And I think she got spoiled the most because she was the only granddaughter on both sides. So she was spoiled a lot. My youngest daughter, not so much. My youngest daughter is so much like me, my adult self. She's always been a go-getter, always wanted to work and have her own money, and she never wanted to ask for stuff. So she always wanted to work. But I would charge too. I'm like, you're gonna help with some of these household supplies up in here. You use toilet paper, you use paper towels, soap, all of this kind of stuff that you use, you're going to have to contribute each time that you get a paycheck. Just like it is with your when you're having your own space, you have to pay for these things. And I think that that also helps, prepare them when they do get out and get their own place. Then they'll know what it looks like to have responsibilities and not just being able to just sit here and stay for free. Teresa said, isn't it funny that at least one in the family is always the headache? Isn't it though? And I was just sitting here thinking, because me and my sister, we be on the phone talking about that brother. I was like, where did he go wrong? But you're right, Teresa. It is always at least one of them. At least one of them is going to be the hard-headed one that's going to keep hitting their head up against this brick wall because they don't listen. They think they got life all figured out. They don't want to hear what you got to say until they need you, right? Which is all the time. Always needing something, always begging, just always, it just seems like always into something. Hey, Deshonda. Thanks for joining, sis. I appreciate you for being here. Sis, no, the keyboard ain't greasy, girl. She said the keyboard greasy. She tearing them crab legs up. I ain't mad at you. I wish I had some. Erica says, I can't give my hard earned money towards someone else's bill and let them party with their money. Adult children would do that to you if you allow it. Absolutely. Absolutely. They'll be out there traveling, girl. You will see them all on Snapchat and their little Facebook stories like, we outside. You in Atlanta, you in Miami, you all these places. But then when you get back, I need help with my electric bill. I need help with my rent. No, that's not how life goes. You're going to have to see what it feels like for them lights to be cut off. You know what? You better go work some overtime. You better get you a second job. I know if we in our big age were able to out here working 2 and 3 jobs when we were their age, you better get out here and get some hustle about yourself. Work more than one job if you're not making enough money to provide for yourself and your expensive needs. Because if it's not a need, if it's not a necessity, don't come my way. And I'm going to always ask you, what you doing with your money? Because we all over here trying to build and have stuff. I want to be outside traveling too. And I can't just give you my money every time you ask. And it's a difference when it's a situation to where you see your adult child really out here trying to make things happen for themselves. They're going to work every day. They have their own place. Everybody falls on hard times. Everybody needs help every once in a while. But I'm talking about these outliers, the ones that's always got their hands out for a handout, the ones that's always needy, always going through something, constantly begging and never giving to anybody. Don't ever pay you back, but are constantly pop up like, I'll pay you back on this day. And then will have the nerve to get an attitude when you ask for your money back. When they said they were going to pay you back. Girl, Teresa says, oh, when that alarm goes on, The door is locked. My boys used to tear that door down trying to beat the curfew because they made it 90% of the time. They had a little grace period. I know that's right. Look at Erica says, chit chat, I'm eating too with greasy fingers. Erica, what you eating over there? You eating some crab legs too, girl? Sis says, I balance by setting my boundary and sticking to it. Love from a distance and pray for them. That's it. That's all. And that's after running for my sister most of my life. I'm done. I get it. I mean, at some point, enough is enough. You can only do so much. Teresa says, loving them too much won't allow you to see the wrong in them. That's why some can rob a bank and the parents are right there to defend them. I love mine, but they know how far to try me. I know that's right. They know how far to go. Deshonda says, my adult siblings, I try to talk to them and give sound advice. I don't lend money anymore because I never got it back. Once they mess up, I'm not giving any get out of trouble for free cars anymore. I know that's right. I stopped doing that. Either I can't tell you the last time I remember, my brother ended up calling me asking me to borrow some money for his electric bill. Mind you, he a whole grown man, had a chick staying with him and everything, and had the nerves to be calling me asking me to borrow some money for an electric bill, and ask me how many times I was able to call and ask him for anything and get it. It'd be the audacity for me. And a lot of times, just really looking back on it, a lot of times I don't really think he even needed it. He just wanted it because he was good at manipulating people into doing things for him. Would have his own money, but still, if he could get somebody else to do it for him for free or get the money out of somebody else, why spend his money? That's the type of mindset he had. He was good at using people. That's exactly what it was. Cece say, do you think boys get more of this treatment than girls? Absolutely. I think it's more boys getting that treatment than girls for whatever reason. And especially in my experiences, I just feel like, especially in our culture, I just feel like a lot of moms baby these boys. And that's one of the conversations me and my sister was having, just looking at all of my aunts that had boys, my mom included, my mom and her siblings, all of them that had those sisters that had boys. They really did shelter those boys. They let those boys get away with anything because, they were handsome boys. And my brother is very handsome. And he is very charismatic and very manipulative. Girl, he can charm your underwear right on off. You hear me? And I feel like, my mom and her siblings, they really did. We were really taking a deep dive back into, like, when we were coming up. And those boys really did get spoiled. Like, we were taught as girls that, you have to know how to get up and clean up a house. You have to carry yourself a certain kind of way. And you got to cook. You got to know how to cook. Like, all of those life skills were forced on us to know how to do. And, the boys just got to sit around and do whatever they want to do. They were never made to do the things that we were made to do when we were growing up. And having the responsibilities that we had. They were able to just go on through life and just, do what boys do, as they say. So I totally believe that boys get more of that treatment than girls. Does anybody else agree with that? How do you feel about Cece's question? Do you think boys get more of that treatment than girls? Deshonda says, chit chat, that's what I do as well. Pray and love from a distance. That's what you have to do. Hey, Brittany Janae. She says, I'll be in the bushes listening. Work today was a big pain in my butt, so I'm laying down. Get you some rest, sis. I understand. Get you some rest, but thank you for listening in. We appreciate you. Lisa says, I couldn't wait to get a job when I was young just to have my own money. I hated having to ask my dad to pick up Kotex or money to do so. I know that's right. I just always wanted my own, period. I didn't want anybody else to be able to control the things that I wanted and the things that I wanted to buy for myself. Because if you got to depend on somebody else to give you money, they get to tell you, like, I just gave you money, or I don't think you should buy this, or I don't think you should buy that. And if you get up and work for it, then you don't have to worry about it, right? You don't have to worry about it. Um, Erica also says you have to love yourself more so that you can protect your health. If you don't, your love for your loved one will take you out. I had to learn. Yes, it will. Stress unalives. And they don't understand just how much stress that they're actually putting on, especially an elderly parent. Like, for the life of me, I don't understand how they don't see how selfish they're being when it comes to them just bringing all of this stuff to their parents. And I was always one, I don't care what I was going through, like in my personal life, I didn't lay that stuff in my parents lap. I didn't, bother them with that kind of stuff. I always did the best that I could to try to work through my situations without them even knowing. By the time they found out, I had already figured it out. I was just that kid. I just, as an adult, like, I just never wanted to do anything for one, to disappoint them. And then two, to just have them stressed out because of my bad decisions. And again, like I say, none of us are perfect. We've not always gotten it right. As a young adult, did I do things? Absolutely. Did I make bad decisions? Absolutely. But when you learn better, you do better. And just as an adult, a big grown adult kid at this big age, there's no way my dad would be the first person I run to when I'm going through something. He wouldn't even know. Like, he has no business even knowing the things that I'm going through in my adult life, like personal decisions, personal bad decisions that I'm making. So I just don't understand that mindset. Deshonda said, I let my cousin sit in the dark because she partied away her bill money, and I wouldn't let her stay the night at my house either, because her coconut head knew better. Not coconut head, sis. I know that's right. I know that's right. Sis said, Yvette, you preaching, sis. My sister contributed to both of my parents' deaths, in my opinion. And that's unfortunate, sis. And that's so unfortunate. And that's the thing that scares and upset me the most when it comes to my brother just always bringing this unnecessary stress and drama to my dad's doorstep, but my dad don't know how to turn it away. You know what I'm saying? I just think it's so sad that they feel like, or he feels like, at this age he still is obligated to keep helping him out. Like, when are you going to say, just go? Because he told me, he's like, well, I don't want him on the street. And I'm like, why you even let him over there? And he was like, well, I don't want him on the street. I said, he'll figure it out. He's a grown man. And if he stopped burning bridges with everybody, he would have somewhere to go. Do you not know how many places I could go if, God forbids, something happened and I was displaced and needed somewhere to go? My dad would not be my first option. So as a big grown over adult kid, and not kid, man, like, you a whole man, there's no way. And I was sitting there like, boy, how do you feel? Like, you a whole big dusty grown man, and you right back where you started, right back where you grew up. Like, that's sick. That's really sick to me. And we can't talk without arguing. We go to blows over this phone. You hear me? We go to blows because my mouth slick, his mouth slick, but we go to blows. Sharon says, I don't have the issue with my daughter, but my nephews sucker punch me all the time. I'm getting better with the nose to them, though. Yes, keep standing on business, Sharon, when it comes to those nephews. And that's the thing. We have to, and some of them are slick with it. Some of them are slicksters. Girl, they can slick talk you out of your last dime if you don't pay attention, because a lot of them are really slick with their manipulation tactics. They really slick, really slick. Teresa says, I think it's more boys. Absolutely. Deshonda says, you can't ask to virtue money from term, but they will ask you for your hard-earned money. They will definitely ask you for your hard-earned money. Deshonda said, yes, boys be coddled a lot. Absolutely. And why is that? Why do you think we as women, and not just all women, but some men too, but why do you think these boys get coddled so much? Like, what is the mindset with that? Because that has been like a question that I've had for a very long time when it comes to especially a lot of mothers. I've seen a lot of women with boys. They really do be coddling their boys. And I just never understood the concept. Like, why is that? Why is it that they feel the need to coddle these boys? Erica says, y'all better buy some battery powered lanterns to loan out to those who this with this girl, right? You better get something, or what do you call that? You better go get you a generator and ask your neighbors if you could plug it in through their back window. Sis says they understand they're a burden. They just don't care. That's true, sis. I totally agree. They know. And that's where the manipulation comes in at, because that's when they start trying to throw that guilt trip onto the parents and try to say, well, you would do it for this one. If that one asked, you would do it for this one. And I said, well, that's the problem. I never would ask. That's the difference between you and I. I wouldn't ask. Right, Teresa. Teresa says, I never worried my parents. Absolutely not. Erica says, I wonder if we ask mothers at what age did they stop dressing their sons, would the answer be an honest answer? That will tell you a lot about these young men and adult men. I totally agree. I totally agree. That would tell a lot. That would tell a lot. So, my next question is to those of you who have children, have you ever had to distance yourself from your adult child for your own peace? Have you ever had to distance yourself from your adult child? Have you ever had to distance yourself? I did, and I did, especially when I was going back and forth with my daughter, and I would still basically like track her whereabouts through my youngest daughter because they still had a relationship. But I would basically find out like how she was doing and stuff like that from a distance, and I had to really, really just cut it off. And it was to the point to where their relationship, my girls' relationships, were starting to get strained because she saw like how much I had to deal with, what my oldest daughter was constantly bringing to the doorstep. So their relationship started to get strained, and that's what I don't think parents understand. Like it brings a strain on everybody's relationship with that person if we're on the outside looking in and seeing that you're constantly doing for that one. And to those of you who have had siblings to where you had those parents trying to love the bad out of them and you're on the outside looking in, did that make you feel a certain kind of way, that you feel like, because for whatever reason, when parents have this difficult child, it just feels like they're constantly doing, talking, and trying to love on, this bad kid, so much so to where they're trying to love the bad out of them. Did that make you feel a certain kind of way? Like, did it make you feel like they loved you less because they gave so much attention? And that's what I think we need to make sure we are being mindful of as parents, and our parents need to be mindful of, like, when we're constantly seeing that will make you feel a certain kind of way, because in one mind you're telling us like, well, how he is, and we just be trying to help him get on his feet, but then you sitting over here like, what about me? Like, I don't get a chance to even ask you for anything, even if I wanted to, because you constantly doing for this one. Like, that would make you feel a certain kind of way. Like, that would make you, and I think we really, really do need to make sure we're being mindful of that when, there's more than one child involved. You can spend so much time trying to pour into one, and you feel like that one child that has it all together, like, I don't have to spend as much time with that one, because that one got it all together. She's on a good path, and she's doing what she's supposed to do. But that does not mean don't show that one any attention or any love as well, And when you're pouring into the other one, you still have to pour into that child as well. You still have to tell that child that, I appreciate your growth. I appreciate, you having the mindset to get up and do things for yourself or whatever, because they're not looking at that sibling the way you're looking at that sibling, because that's your child. They're looking like, this is my sibling, this is my mom, and I see my mom always going to bat for this one. Every time this one get in trouble, she running here, there, and everywhere. Every time they call, they always got, our parents going through this, that, and the other. But here I sit, don't never get a chance to ask for anything, and it's almost like their worlds, our parents' worlds, become so consumed with this bad adult kid that they're constantly always trying to think of the next safety plan for that child, because they know, well, we got to put some money aside, because she ain't gonna pay her light bill and she'll be needing some money for her light bill, or she ain't gonna feed the kids, so we need some money, put some money aside so the kids can eat. Like, I think that is so unfair. I think that is so unfair, especially if you are the adult child or the adult sibling that is doing that to your parents. I think it's really unfair that as a parent that have done what I was supposed to do to raise my children to be adults in this society, and they constantly still are in my pocket, constantly still, you constantly, and you're knowing what you're doing, and you're in your right mind, you know exactly what you're doing, but the fact that you already know that you have that safety net, and you can continue to run back to mama and daddy to do this, that, and the third, to me, I think that's very selfish. And I think that's so unfortunate that there are kids with that mindset that continue to manipulate their parents into doing. And it's also so unfair to the parent, to where they can't even put money up for themselves to do the things that they desire to do, because they always got to have some what if money stashed up for these no good children that just can't seem to get it together. Sis said, I think some mothers don't want their sons to be really loved by any women outside of her, so she coddles and ruins. That's a great point, sis. Great point. Some of these mamas with boys, girl, they be acting like they be acting like they're their women. Like, pipe down, sis, that's your son. Like, some of these women have very weird dynamic relationships with their sons. It's real weird to me. Lisa says, ooh, child, my first mother-in-law still tried to dress my husband after we were married. Girl, if she don't go away from here with that, Lisa. She said she even came to our new home and picked out furniture. I came home from work and saw that ugly furniture and cried, Negro, if you don't get this stuff back out here or sit it outside on the patio, and you and your mama can go out there and sit on it, but it won't be. Girl, a mess. Teresa says, chit chat, that's so true. Some mothers look like they're in a relationship with their sons. They don't like the wives. They keep mess going so they can stay close to their son. Absolutely. And that's a conversation we having up front. Ain't nobody running, ain't no other woman running this household over here. And that includes your mama. Or you can get over there with your mama. Point blank and the period. Keisha says, my friend thinks that way about her parents. I feel so sad for her when she talks about her childhood. And it's unfortunate, Keisha, and I think it's just really so unfair. And I think a lot of the issue is most parents be so concerned and so overwhelmed by trying to help that kid who just can't get it right stay on the right track. And it's so easy for you to overlook or forget the one that already has it together. And it's unfair, and they just think, and it's just like, when we say check on your strong friends, that's the same thing in regards to your children. You may have that kid that has it all together, but you can't forget to check in with that kid and do stuff with that kid as well, because on the outside looking in, all that kid see you do is running back and forth for that knucklehead. And that's unfortunate. Mama V says, I told my mom that she was doing more harm on my baby brother than good. And they don't want to hear that, Mama V. They do not want to hear that. I don't know what it is about it. I've had that conversation with my dad on several occasions just here lately. But every time I bring it up, he ready to get off the phone, child. He don't want to hear you saying nothing about his son. He can complain about him all day long, but don't you say nothing. He does not want to hear it. He would be ready to. He'll be like, oh, "Okay, I'll talk to you later." You can tell him no wrong. And I was talking to my aunt, which is my dad's sister, yesterday, and I told her, I said, you know what? I said, that's gonna be the one that break his heart. And what she told me? She said he's already broken his heart. He's just too stubborn to say it. She said he's already done broke his heart. He just won't say it. He's too prideful to say it. I said, exactly. I said, that's a great point. Great point. Teresa said, I told y'all I just started speaking to my mother-in-law. We've been married 30 years. It took at least 25 years for me to accept her fake apology, and my hubby is not a mama's boy. That's a long time, sis. I laugh at you every time you say that. Girl, 25 years is a long time, sis, but I ain't mad at you. Oh, child. Sis said, I didn't feel like my parents loved me less. I just feel like they felt they had to give my sister extra love, and she took advantage of that. And that's a great point, sis. And I think that's what a lot of them do. I think those adult kids take advantage of that extra love that the parents show, because when they see all I got to do is go in here with tears in my eyes, and I know mama and daddy going to give me everything I ask for. And then the thing about it is, when they don't get it, look at their behavior when they don't get what they want. When the parent finally start to say no and start to force them to stand on their own 2 feet, girl, they be ready to call them every name in the book. Ain't that sad? The main people that you always run to and can get you out of anything that you get into, you got the audacity to have an attitude when they say no. April says, my kids know if you live in my house and you're over 18 and not in college, rent must be paid. That part, point blank and period, says that part. Erica says, no, I have never had to distance myself. I am to say that my son is quite independent. Sometimes I want to assist him and he is quick to say no. He think he's supposed to assist me. And that's great. And that's the thing. My oldest daughter has always been that way. And seeing this is the thing, when you have those independent children, I'll do stuff for my daughters. I'll do stuff because they are independent. If I see something, and I'll get it for them, not because they asked, but because I want to. And that's the thing, that's part of the reward when, the kids are doing the things they're supposed to do and they're out here. I remember when my oldest daughter, she was having to take Uber for work while her car was being repaired. She was having to take Uber, and she was working. She works third shift, and those of you who are aware of the Midwest and these snowstorms that we have, if you're catching Uber, the prices are extremely high in the wintertime because, of course, of the snowstorms. And there were times to where, a one-way Uber may be $45-$50. And, and when, she would tell me, she's like, oh my gosh, she's like, these Uber expenses are just eating me up. And it was time I just went and bought her an Uber card, and I would just give her like an Uber card, just not because she asked, but because I saw that, okay, she's getting up, trying to go to work. She doesn't have a car. She's taking Uber, and the Uber's prices are expensive. So it was times that I would just cash app and say, here's some money for your Ubers for the week. But and that's just part of we're parents. Of course, we're gonna still love on our kids and do things for our kids. But these are, now they got it all together and they're doing the right thing. So of course we help our children when they are, independent, and we see, because we all struggle. We don't want to see our kids struggle. Of course, we want to see them doing well. But we reward them when they do well. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I'm talking about these ones who just still can't get it together, and you grown. Sharon says, that's me, Erica. Okay. Teresa says, I told my husband and his mama ain't but one Mrs. Right up in this joint. So tell your mama to go on somewhere. I know that's right. She better go on get. I know that's right, honey. You got to let mama go when you decide to say I do. Keisha say, you ain't playing, Teresa, and ain't Keisha. Erica says these mothers make the mistake of making 8-year-old boys the man of the house and becoming their mother, wife, and at an an early age. You're right. They sure do. They sure do. And it's unfortunate too. It's really unfortunate, Erica. Mama V says, I married a mama's boy, but my mother in law loved me until the day she passed. That's good. Because listen, if you can get yourself a good in law, you're doing good for yourself. Because there are a lot of them that's not. You hear me? And that right there determines how far we going in this relationship, depending on your mom and your sisters. Because, baby, we'll be slanging up in this joint. You hear me? Your mama not about to be disrespecting me. Teresa says she's lucky I'm speaking. I'm a true Virgo and we don't play with no fake speaking. She only gets a few words because she's my hubby's mama. I know that's right. She says I have no problem helping when they're doing all they can. Right. There's nothing wrong with us helping when we see that they're actually trying to do the right thing. My next question. Why do you think it's so hard for some parents to let go? Even when their child is hurting them emotionally and financially. Why do you think it's so hard for some parents to let go, even when their child is hurting them emotionally and financially? And that's one that I've been trying to wrap my head around. Why is it so hard for some parents to let go? I don't get it. Anybody know? Uh, Keisha, you laughing, girl. Listen, we'll be slanging and banging. You hear me? Don't play with it. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. Erica says, remember Gator, Samuel Jackson in Jungle Fever, another adult son who manipulated his parents? Girl, yes. Teresa says, because they're young, they're lonely. Yes. Yes. And you know what, Teresa? But that's not always the case though, because my daddy ain't lonely. He's surrounded by love and people that that do for him. um I don't know. I know lonely is a part of it, but I don't know. I just think it's just something about them longing for these, I don't know, girl, longing for these sons to be, and maybe they just want to have them around. Maybe he just want to have them around because he feel like if he's home with him, he can protect them or something. And I don't know, girl. Teresa said they're lonely or afraid of losing controls. Well, honey, get you a pet. Get you a pet and stop letting these grown adult no good kids run you in the ground, because that's all they're doing. Erica says there is nothing wrong with rewarding your adult children, the ones that are grateful. That's totally true. That's totally true. Because, girl, I had to tell my brother, like, you may be back in that house, but know this, you ain't over nothing. Can't nothing go or come unless it goes through me. And I promise you that. So he can go on ahead with whatever he got in mind. Mama V said, I would love to know that as well. I know. Sis said parents don't want to walk around with a broken heart from cutting them off, even though the actions of the child is breaking their heart anyway. You right. And I feel like, do you think it's like out of obligation? Do you think that the parents do it, or do it so long because they feel like they're obligated because they are their child? I feel like they just I feel like with some of these parents they actually handicap the kid, because if you don't let them fly, if you don't let them loose and let them fly from the nest, how do you expect them to ever learn? Like, how do you expect it if you are constantly like digging them out of a rut every time? Like, if you don't allow them to go through the consequences of those bad decisions that they're making, how do you expect them to ever learn? Hey, Gia, thanks for joining, sis. How do you expect them to learn from their mistakes, or how do you expect them to learn from their choices? Because as adults, we get choices. You can choose to do bad or you can choose to be good, to do good. And it's up to us, and there's a consequence either way. But if we're constantly bailing them out, how are we expecting to teach them, or allow them to learn the consequences behind the actions? Teresa says, in the case with your father, maybe he sees him as the baby who haven't grown up yet. Girl, girl, that Negro is full grown. You hear me? He full grown. And I don't see how he can see him as no baby that hasn't fully grown up. But my thing is with my brother, like real talk though, he's very manipulative. He manipulates my dad to um he manipulates him into believing things that aren't so about him. Teresa, sis said, sis, do your brother have a job? Girl, no. He's sitting here telling my dad that he's waiting on his VA benefits. That he just told my dad just recently, girl. Me and my auntie was on the phone all girl, I gotta get you caught up. He he has my dad thinking that he's waiting on his VA payout. That he just got approved for his VA, and that he's getting a 100% payout from the VA, that he's been fighting to get his VA. But here's the thing, my brother didn't fight in war. He ain't fight over no. He ain't fight in war. What VA are you getting? But the thing is, when he say these things, and I try to tell my dad, I was like, Dad, that boy ain't getting no money. He ain't got no money coming. But he has my dad like believing all of these stories. Like he's telling my dad, like, I'm just waiting on my payout to come, and then I'm gonna buy a house, and then I'm moving out, just to keep him there, like just so that he can stay. And like when he talked to me, which is very seldom, he's like, I'm not here long, I'm just waiting on my check. But I'm sitting there like, boy, girl, he been waiting on this VA check to come since my youngest daughter was a baby, and she'll be 31 in October. But again, you cannot get my dad to see that these are manipulative lies that he's constantly saying. And my dad just believe it, and he'll believe. And I was like, Dad, I was like, he's not getting any money. He's not getting a payout. Or he told my dad that he hurt his shoulder on the job. But my brother don't work because every time he get a job, child support taking that check. So every time child support find out that he's working, he'll quit because child support he's so far behind on child support. And these foolish women just stay having babies with him, girl. It's a long story. When I say I could write a book, girl, this is another book I can add to my series. It's foolish. April says, I have my oldest that I put out, and he needed that time to see what I was trying to show him at home. He needed it. I knew I loved him, but I couldn't enable him. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's good that he finally get it. And like I say, a lot of times when we do show tough love and they actually get out there and see that they got to get it out the mud for themselves, they will appreciate it later. They will appreciate it. But if you keep bailing them out time after time after time, they won't get it. They won't get it. Teresa says, is your brother protective over you or your sister? Girl, back in the day, Teresa, when we all had a close relationship, like I say, back in the day, my brother and I, you couldn't tell me that he was my best friend. People thought we were twins because we were only like a year and a half apart. But people thought we were twins. Like you couldn't tell me nothing about my brother. My brother, that was my guy. That was my dude. He was my best friend. But along the way, like I would say around the time when we lost our mom, that's when our relationship started to go downhill, and it's been bad ever since. And it's gotten worse, which is unfortunate. But it's gotten worse, especially since my dad had his stroke. And just him not doing some of the things that he should have been doing, especially since he's right there in the same city with him. And that's the thing too that bothers me the most about it, because he had a stroke. He was right there. Now, as long as my brother's life is going well, he ain't checking for my dad at all. He wasn't going to see him. He wasn't calling to check on him, right in the same city. because his life was good. His life was well. He was on top of the world. But every time something go wrong with his life, and every time he needs something, who you think he's calling? So that pissed me off more because, in times where he needed you, you weren't available, but you expect him to be available for you. And then especially now look at you. You don't have anywhere to go, and you right back there with the very person that you wouldn't even help when he had a stroke. But yet my dad has a revolving door, and he still can go and come when he gets ready. And that's what pisses me off. And it pisses me off because I feel like I'm about at a point to where I'm ready to show my dad some tough love, if that makes sense, because it's like it's no getting through to him. And I feel a certain kind of way because financially my dad depends on me. Like, I take care of almost everything in my dad's household so that he can live comfortably with his little check that he gets. He's on a fixed income. So there I pay for over half of everything in his household so that he could live comfortably. So to me, I feel like that's a slap in my face to have your adult son, who's able-bodied and could go to work but choose not to, living there in the house that I'm helping you pay bills in. Like, to me, that's a whole slap in the face. And it's to the point to where I'm ready to let everything get cut off and y'all get it out the mud. Like, let's see how your son pulled through for you. But he continues to tell me that he's not there long. Oh, I'm just waiting on my check. Or I'll be gone next week. Like, that's every week. That's the story. I'll be gone next week. Then next week come, I'll be gone next week. But you still here. That's because he knows that I'm paying the bills, and he knows that I've been saying I'm not going to continue to pay the bills while he's there. So that's the lie he tells so that he can continue to stay there for free. So is he overprotective? Back in the day, he was, but we don't have a relationship to that point at this point. Um, Erica says your dad may feel afraid that something will happen to his son if he lets go. And that's the thing, and he probably does. But at the end of the day, whatever is in God's will is in God's will. And that's what we need to understand and realize, that as parents, we can't shelter our kids every day, 24 hours a day. You know what I'm saying? We cannot keep them from the journey that God has them on. We cannot keep them from their karma. We can't keep them from reaping the seeds that they've sown, be it good or bad. We can't protect them from that. They have to pay for the choices that they made. You have to reap what you sow. So he could very well be feeling that way. Gia says, I'll catch the replay. Thank you, sis. Thanks for catching the replay. Teresa said, is he getting any disability from the military? He don't have to fight in the war to get disability. He's trying. That's what he's trying to get. He's trying to get some disability, Teresa. To me, it's a scheme. If he's probably scheming, trying to get some girl. It's a long story, sis. It's a long story. Hey, Miss Wynn. Thanks for joining. She said, hello, everyone. I'll catch the replay, but great topic. Thanks, sis. Please make sure you hit the like button for me, but I appreciate you for catching the replay. Teresa said, girl, bye. If he was approved, he'll be getting on the 1st of July. So make sure you check. Listen, Teresa, here's the thing. When I say this boy, I think he tells so many lies that he don't forget. That he forgets the lies that he's told. So he told me, and this is about 3 weeks ago, and I know how it happens because my sister is military as well, and she ended up getting her payout. My sister actually fought in war, and she had back issues when she came out, and she got approved a couple years ago, and her payout was instant. As soon as she got approved, she was like, sis, my check was in my bank account the next day. The government does not play. When they owe you money, they are paying you those tax-free dollars. And that's how we know he's lying, because if they approve you, you're getting that money right away. So trust me, we went through this very same process with my sister. And the things that he's saying versus the process that she went through is not adding up. That's how I know he's lying. But he, like a few weeks ago, he told me that one of his checks came in the mail. And he talks to me. I don't know if he thinks that just because I'm younger than him, I'm slow or something. But he was like, one of my checks came through the mail. He was like, Dad saw my check laying on the table. He voluntarily lie, if that makes sense. Like lie for no reason. I never ask questions because I don't talk to him. But he'll randomly just call me and start telling me all of these different lies or what have you. But he said the dad saw one of the checks that he had. He said, I just hadn't cashed it yet. And I'm sitting there like, Negro, if you get any check from anybody, as broke as you are, I know good and well you ain't sitting there holding on to a check that you hadn't cashed. Please make it make sense. Like they talk to you like they're slow. Sharon, don't be laughing. Girl, they talk to you like you're slow. And I don't get it. And it frustrates me because dad don't see this stuff. And I be sitting there talking to dad. It's like, Dad, does that make sense? Like you just sit there and let that boy tell you anything and you'll believe it. Like I for the life of me, I don't understand. I don't know. Erica says, Rose from Golden Girls said the humans are the only ones that won't release the young from the home. Animals are the opposite. I'm a Golden Girls fan. Me too, girl. I used to love Golden Girls. Still watch it when it comes on. But she's right. That's a great point. Great point. Ms. Wynn says, April, thank you for saying that. I am not there with my son, but I need to have some challenging conversations with him. Have the conversation, sis. He'll appreciate it in the long run. He would definitely appreciate it in the long run. Teresa says you have to push the baby bird out the nest in order for it to learn how to fly. Problem with humans is we hold on, right? We just feel like, I guess it's some sense of protection or something. Teresa says, I agree. That is painful. You're helping dad so he can help your brother. So unfortunate you're stuck because you won't feel right cutting your dad off. Absolutely. That's exactly where it is. I just feel like I'm stuck in between a rock and a hard space, especially when I know my brother is playing on it. Like, who in their adult life at our big age get to live somewhere rent free? Like, this boy get to live rent free. I mean, does not have to pay not one bill. You are really back in the childhood home that you grew up with. Like, how do you feel? How do you feel? That is so weird to me. April says, Miss Wynn, it was either put my foot down or end up with major turmoil in my home. I have 6 kids, and if I allowed him to do nothing, I didn't want his siblings to think that it was okay to slack off. I know that's right. I know that's right. Teresa said exactly. Mine was the next day out. Right, girls, the military don't play. The government don't play. When they owe you, they're getting that money. They're giving you that money. So that's how I know that it's all a lie, because he keeps saying he's oh, my check coming, my check. And like I say, this check been coming ever since my daughter was a baby. She'll be 31 in October. You see how sick that sounds? You see how sick that sounds? But for the life of me, you cannot get that through my daddy's head. Like, you cannot. He will get mad at you if you mad at his son. That's just how hard my dad goes for his boy. He will get mad at you, and he'll always call, well, your brother's here, you want to talk to? I said, no, that's your son. I do not want to talk to your son. I called to check on you. Well, that's your brother. I said, that's your son. Like, I have no dealings with him whatsoever. Like, what you look like laying up on my daddy's couch talking on his phone or using his Wi-Fi. Girl, it irks me. It irks me. It really does. It really does. Teresa says there was an unnecessary lie. Even if we don't need our check right away, we're going straight to the bank. I thought the VA only do direct debit now. They were supposed to stop issuing paper checks. They only do direct debit, Teresa. That's the point I'm trying to make. He be lying for no reason. He be lying. Everybody that I know that have been getting their payouts from the VA, regardless of how large the payment is, because my sister's payment was 80 some $1,000, and it was direct deposited right into her bank account in less than 48 hours. So they don't play. April says, Miss Wynn, for your own peace of mind, these kids are more resilient than we think. They will let us stress ourselves out until we put our foot down. once they're adults, you have to choose you now. I totally agree. You really do have to choose yourself. And they'll continue to do it as long as they allow. It's just like anybody else. People will do what you allow them to do. Once you set that boundary and you cut them off and they see that they won't be able to get over on you the way that they've always been, they're either going to shake themselves shake themselves off and go out there and make things happen for themselves, or they're going to be out there and bump their head until they figure it out. But you best believe when they see that you'll no longer be that shelter that they want you to be, they'll get it together. They'll get it together. Teresa says, and when the big old grown men live rent free, they leave lights on, waste water, and don't clean up. You can't even get them to take the trash out. Sorry, R says. Exactly. Exactly. Mighty Grizz Real is here. Hey, sis. How are you? Sis said 30 years. Girl, he been telling that lie for 30 years. 30 years. And it was so funny because my girls had to say it out loud. My daughter's like, Mama, he been saying that ever since I was a little girl. He's still waiting on that check, girl. I have realized a lie ain't nothing for somebody. And if you just sit there, what kind of human just voluntarily lie? Like, especially at your big age. But a lie is nothing for some people to tell. I tell you. April says my mother-in-law is the devil. Is she, April? Girl, them mother-in-laws can be something. Mighty Grizz Real say you sound like me when I used to call my mama. Girl, April says sometimes we feel guilty. That's true. Yes, I can't take that away from any of us. We feel guilty. We go through those stages of guilt, and even when it comes to like my brother, like when I was telling sis, like I don't wish harm on him at all. Even though we don't have a great relationship, I always pray that like he gets himself together, like do whatever you need to do to get yourself together. And and the thing about it is he has misused women so much to where he has burned like all the bridges of people that were once there for him. And and it's a sad situation to be in a space to where don't nobody want to fool with you because you've burned all your bridges. And he's just one of those people who have misused and abused people for so long to where everybody is finding him out, to the point to where you don't even have a friend that will tell you like, man, you need somewhere to sleep until you get on your feet. I got you. You can come sleep in my basement, or I can help you get a job. Like if you don't have people like that in your corner, that's a sad way to be, because that means you've just burned your bridges with so many people to the point to where people don't even want to fool with you. And now you got to end up back at your daddy's house. Like that don't even look right. And he was so embarrassed when my girls went home to a trail ride over Memorial Day weekend, and they were at my dad's house. And just imagine how embarrassing that is to see your nieces see you back at granny's house. Like that's crazy work. But the first thing he's like, I'm just waiting on my check. I'm just waiting on my check, and I'll be gone. And I'm only here for like a week. And then he'll always say, he was like, that's all right, because when I get my check, all the people that wasn't there for me, I'm not looking out for none of y'all. I'm only going to look out for the person who was there for me when I was down. And I'm sitting there looking like, well, Negro, it was your choice that you were down. And who do you expect to help you when this is a result of the decisions that you've made? Like, don't nobody owe you anything. It's a mess. It's a mess. Miss Wynn says to April, thank you for the encouragement. So true. I need to let go of what my son went through because of the divorce as a child. He has been very resilient, and he can handle the conversation. Absolutely. He can handle it. Our kids are stronger than what we think of, sis. They're stronger than what we think they are. They are very resilient. Very resilient for sure. Teresa says, April, does your mother-in-law have a sister named Linda? Because mine is too, until she met me. You think they sisters, sis? Ooh, child. April says to Miss Wynn, my first marriage was a very abusive and toxic. My son used that as an excuse for years. I had to tell him God brought us through, and we will not let that be an excuse to underachieve. I know that's right. I know that's right. That is no excuse. No excuse. Teresa says, well, he ain't getting no 30-year back pay now because they now only go back 1 year from the date you file. He is not. He was, overheard him in the background when I was talking to my dad the other day. He was telling somebody that he had been fighting his for 8 years and it finally got approved. He got denied like 3 times or something. But but that's what happened when you a liar and a schemer and you just out here trying to do whatever to get over on people. Girl, I believe it when I see it. Just like I told my dad, I said I will believe it when I see it. I am not falling for the okie doke. My degree is real says your brother going to end up alone. Girl, already alone. Well, I can't say that. Girl, he just had a new baby. Did I tell y'all? My brother will be 54 in August. Will it be 54? 54 years old in August. He just had a new baby. Got a granddaughter about the same age as the new baby. Girl, it's the whole mess. I told you he can charm the panties right off these women. Oh my gosh, girl, that's a story for another day. April says my mother-in-law is blocked. We don't speak. I cannot. I know that's right. Block, honey. Sharon said, I know your brother ears burning, girl. Sharon, girl, me and my auntie been talking about him for 3 days straight. So I bet it is. And the one piece of peace that I do have, like I was telling sis the other day, my uncle from Chicago just retired. My uncle from Chicago just retired back home to Mississippi. And that's one of my dad's younger brothers. So he's there and he's able to, go over and check on dad for me and be my eyes. And we're getting some cameras put in the house and stuff. But we're putting in the cameras that are made like fire smoke detectors so that my brother won't know that it's actually a camera. Because if it's like a doorbell cam or something like that he know is a camera, he'll take it down. So we're having some cameras put in the house. So my uncle from Chicago is doing those things for me. So it gives me a little bit of relief knowing that he's there and looking out for him for me. And then my aunt is there, which is also my dad's sister. So it just gives me some relief to see that they're there. So it's been a lot of stuff. My brother has gone so far as of recent trying to get my sister and I to think that my dad is going through showing early stages of dementia. Like he's that type of manipulative boy, I'll say. So it's a lot of stuff. So y'all keep me in your prayers, child, because girl, it's been a lot. You hear me? Miss Wynn says, I'm so sorry. My son is doing good as far as his education and job. He's in grad school, but I just noticed some of his father's narcissistic qualities and it needs to stop. Girl, my brother is a narcissistic sociopath. You hear me? But at least you are noticing those traits early on and, you're able to talk to him about it. Teresa said, did he ever cash the check? There was a girl. No, they cashed no check. He cashed no check. He had one of my cousins over there yesterday and we heard him on the phone. He didn't even know I was on speakerphone. So my nephews be conspiring with me to kind of keep check on what he has going on. But I heard him in the background trying to have one of my cousins put $10 worth of gas in the car for him, child. So you mean to tell me you got a whole check that you ain't cashed and you need somebody to put gas in your vehicle? Girl. The sister, Lord, girl, it's a mess. Teresa said if he don't go sit his arse down. Girl, when I say he be y'all, he's a mess. When I say the stories that he just really called and volunteered, girl, he sent me a picture of this. And mind you, I don't talk to him, but for whatever reason, he finds it in his business like all day. I'm looking at my phone, like, why does my phone keep, beeping? Like, who's sending me stuff? Girl, he was sending me videos from where he took his one of his sons and his grandson to a water park over the weekend. Like, he is on this mission to prove to me that he's this good upstanding citizen and he's got all of this money coming. So much so, girl, he sent me a picture of a house that he said he just got his VA loan for. This house just got approved for 300 and some thousand, and the monthly payments are going to be $1,700. He said it's a nice house. I'm gonna get a pool put in the backyard. I didn't ask for none of this. Sent me the picture, the link to the house and everything. He went as far as sending me all of this stuff, saying that his VA loan got approved, home loan got approved, and I'm just sitting here like, again, you voluntarily lie. Like, I don't ask this boy anything. I don't even talk to him. He'll call me out of the blue with this kind of stuff. Like, he is hell bent on trying to prove to me that he is a good big brother and his life is together and he's not really staying with dad. And he's got people thinking that he's back in the house with dad because dad needs him to help take care of him. He'll never let you know that he's there because he has nowhere to go. So he's trying to make it seem like he's there to help take care of dad. My degree is real said, is your brother ill treating your dad? And that's a good question, sis, because that is the reason why I was having my uncle to go by, and then also one of my nephews, because my aunt and I, when we were talking, we can tell just as good when my brother is around versus when he's not around. Like, my dad and I would talk every single day. My dad would call me every day at 7:30 a.m. in the morning and several times throughout the day. I can count on hand since my brother has been there. My dad has let weeks go by without calling. And he would call me every day. And my aunt said the same thing. She was like, he doesn't call. Like, when my brother is around, and I don't know if it's because like that's his happy place and now his son is there and he doesn't, it's almost like I feel like since his son is there, he's basically like, I don't need her as much just financially. You know what I'm saying? Like, since my brother has been there, he'll only call when he's telling me like either he got a letter in the mail about a bill or one of his medications he now has to pay for. Like, those are the type of phone calls that I get now. It's all built around financial. It's not those conversations just calling to see what we're doing anymore like it was before. So, but my aunt says that she feels like he's manipulating my dad into thinking that we don't care anymore and that he's the only one that's looking out for his well-being, if that makes sense, because we can notice a difference in the conversations with him now since my brother is around. Or it'll be, I'll hear from him when my brother is not there. So when my brother leaves and he's gone off doing what he's doing, then my dad will call. And it didn't used to be like that. He used to would call every day. So, yeah, it's one of those situations. Lisa says, praying for you. We had to team up and put my narc sociopath brother out of my mother's house because he started trying to abuse her, would talk to her any kind of way. We all flew in to handle him. Look, and I'm flying in too, because I do be noticing how he'll start like purposely start like arguments with him and stuff like that. Like, and I was sitting there like, how are you even talking to your dad like that? And the thing about it is, what you need to understand is that he don't need you. You need him. Like, you're having to stay in his home. It's not like he had to come in your home and live with you. Like, you are here because you have to be, not because you choose to be. So Teresa say, so now the VA approving mortgage loans even if you don't have a job. Teresa, girl, listen, when I say my sister and I have had a field day with that, thanks, Miss Wynn, for your prayers. Y'all, thanks. Y'all keep sending prayers up for my daddy, child, because I don't know. Like, we've tried to, like I say, we've tried to get through to him to get him to see what we see. But he continues to turn a blind eye to through it. He doesn't see what we see when it comes to that brother of mine. Um, and he's standing by his boy, child. April says it's okay, Miss Wynn. It's okay. Listen, God brought us through the storm. We survived, and we are all much better now. I share my story because so many people go through this. Absolutely, and thanks for sharing your story, sis. We appreciate it. Sis said your dad is embarrassed because he knows your brother is using him. He still loves you the same. I believe he's embarrassed too, sis. My aunt was telling me that yesterday when we was talking about my brother is going to be the one to break his heart, and my aunt said, "Yeah, he's already broken his heart, but your dad won't say it because he's embarrassed." And I totally believe that he knows that he's lying and he's manipulative. Um, but I don't know. It's just real hard for him to put his feet down and put him out. And I just really think he's using this whole he's painted this big facade about I'm getting all of this money and I'm gonna do this for you and I'm gonna do this for that one, and when I get my check and this and that and the third, and I'm sitting here like, boy, if it's not one thing, it's another. Thanks, sis. Thanks, Teresa, for praying. Thanks, Sharon, for praying, honey. Pray for my daddy, child. Keep him lifted, because that's at this point I just don't feel like there's anything else we can do. Like, he won't listen to my sister and I when we try to talk to him and try to tell him stuff. He won't listen to, and I kind of try to, I have as of lately just kind of backed up and not try to talk to him about it. When I call and check on him, I just literally just call and check on him. I don't ask any questions about anything else, because he'll get upset if we start asking him questions about my brother, and he'll be ready to get off the phone, or he'll purposely not answer the phone when we call to check on him. um it's just I don't know what it is about that son of his. Ms. Wynn says to April, amen. Thank you for sharing your story. It's right on time. God is good. I needed to hear that confirmation. Thank you. Yes, sis. That's what it's all about. It's about us being able to share our experiences with each other so that we can help. Y'all, believe it or not, like seeing, your comments and the things that you're saying, and seeing that we've all at some point have been through similar situations when it comes to siblings and children. And this is what we use this platform for, so that we can pour into each other and also be able to um, share our experiences so we can learn from it and so we can grow from it as well. My degree is real says your dad has siblings. Yes, my dad has siblings. He got several siblings. Um, I have an aunt that lives right down the street from where he lives, not even 5 minutes. And my uncle from Chicago just retired and went back to Mississippi because he's getting ready to do an Airbnb there. So he moved back. So luckily, they, are able to keep eyes on dad for me, and they see what I see. So that's a blessing to have them back there with him. Teresa says, so he's materialistic. He likes to showboat instead of just being, girl, materialistic is putting it lightly. I mean, he has always been a big showboater. And he's always done that with me for whatever reason. And that's the thing. Like I say, that he's older and we had a very, very close relationship when we were younger. But, since my mom passed away, and I've noticed it as of, since my mom passed away, it's always like he tries to compare with me, or he tries to one up me, if that makes any sense. He always want to prove to me like the money he has and the vehicle he drive, or he'll always, oh, I make more money than you, and I'm like, how did we even get on that conversation? You know what I'm saying? So it's always, when I was just looking back on it and trying to see where our relationship went wrong, I realized like he's done that a lot through the years, like always tried to compare himself with me, or always try to one up and say that, either he makes more money, or I drive this car, or I bought this and I did that, and I'm getting this done to the house and I'm getting that done. Like it's always been some sort of um I think, and the more I came to realization with it, I think it was more so that he realizes how much of a failure he is, and him doing that is basically him masking the fact that he knows who he really is. But for whatever reason, I don't know why he feels like he has to prove to me that he has it all together. So, and he's done this for years. He has to try to prove to me that he's way more well off than what he actually is. And I don't know if that's like an older sibling versus younger sibling thing that he has going on, that he has to, how dare I be further along than he is, and he feel like he should be further along than me because he's older. I never got that, but he's always done that. He's always done that. Sis says, absolutely prayers going up for your dad and for you. Thanks, sis. I love me some you and all of you. Thank you so much. Teresa says, I think everybody go through the same issues, whether folks admit it or not. Absolutely. Absolutely. My degree is real says his siblings has to step in and let your brother know what time it is. Actually, they have. And that's why my uncle has started just randomly popping up and just going over to check on him or what have you, and peeping the scene and all of that kind of stuff. So they have made their presence very well known. And it's so funny because when I was telling sis about the whole situation when he first started saying that my dad was showing signs of early dementia, and we're trying to figure out where that came from, and even his siblings was like, that is not true. He's very much so in his right mind, but my brother was hell bent on trying to prove, and we never knew why he was going that angle. So my uncle made sure that he just started popping up randomly. And it's so funny when I say he was so hell bent on doing it, when I say he was calling me like for a week straight, every single day, all day long, trying to prove to me that, dad couldn't remember stuff and he couldn't remember, to the point now he hasn't mentioned it since. He hasn't mentioned it since then. So what was the urgency then to try to prove that you felt like dad was showing signs of dementia, but we don't hear nothing else about it? We haven't heard anything else about it. Anything. So we're keeping our eyes open. Sis said he's in denial. How is he trying to compete or compare? But his real life shows he doesn't have it all together. Exactly. And that's the thing. He don't know we know as much as we do about his life. And that's the thing. I guess he feels like since I'm not back home anymore and I'm hundreds of miles away, that I don't know what's going on. He feels like it's easy for him to lie to me, and that it's easy for me to believe it because he thinks I don't know, but I'm very well versed on what he has going on. But he doesn't know everything I know. My degree is real says your brother is stuck at a certain level. It's like he hasn't grown up. And that's the thing. He's fine as long as he's on top of the world when he had it all together. But when that last chick that he had living with him, when she finally broke up with him and moved out, that's when all hell broke loose. That's when he started to lose everything. And that just shows she was the glue that was holding everything together. But the way he dogged that girl out, and she was paying all those bills in that house, and he was on top of the world. You couldn't tell him anything. His Cadillac Escalade and the latest designer jeans and clothes and jewelry and expensive cologne, like he was on top of the world. But again, I just say, this is just God working. This is just his karma has met him at the front door, and he's now going through his reaping process. And like my aunt say, he ain't seen nothing yet, because he's the type of person that you see that you're losing things. You see that you're going through things in your life now and how things are looking for you, and yet you're still doing the same things. So he still hasn't learned his lesson, but the Lord gonna have to knock him down on his knees and fall on his face for him to see it. But he's feeling it for sure. Um, Teresa said that's good that they're popping in. They need to be a united force, and they are. They really are. They both are. You know, my aunt calls, my uncle pops up, so they're showing that they are very present. That they're very present, and I think that's why he's kind of falling back with what he was trying to do. I feel like he was trying to make it seem like my dad was showing signs of dementia, so probably he could get a check as his caretaker or something. I think that's why he purposely wanted to move back to try to prove that he had to move in to help care for dad. Um, it was definitely a motive behind it for sure, because he's just that type of person. Sis says that's very reckless and dangerous for him to lie about your dad's health. It's very reckless and dangerous. Very, very. And that's why it upset me so bad. And the thing is, even when I had a conversation, even when it happened, he made sure he turned the ringer off on dad's phone so that I couldn't get in touch with him to tell him that I found out that he was saying these things. And he purposely turned the ringer off, and to the point to where I had to call my uncle and tell him, like, because nobody could get in touch with dad. We couldn't even get in touch with him. And my uncle say, well, I'm going to pop up over here and I'm going to check the phone to see if the ringer is off. And I 100% truth. He had turned the ringer off because he didn't want us to call dad and tell him that we had found out that he basically lied and was telling. He had called my doctor. It's a different story. He had called my dad's doctor and told my dad that he was told the doctor that my dad was showing signs of early dementia. And those of you who have dealt with that, you know that the if you go in and say that about a family member, they give this state test that you have to take. To see, like, ask you questions about, to see where your memory level is and all of that kind of stuff. Girl, my dad passed that test with flying colors. But the fact that my brother actually did that behind my dad's back, and that girl sent me over edge. That sent me over the edge. And again, thank God my uncle was there and my aunt was there, so they were able to see what was going on. But like I say, it got so far to that point, all of a sudden now you don't hear anything about it. So yeah, very reckless, sis. Sis says what's needed is the truth. Cut off all conversation when you guys know he's lying. As long as he feel like he's running game, he'll continue. Give him the harsh truth. Every single time. Every single time. And it's just like, you voluntarily lie for no reason. Like, you don't even have to talk to me. Like, that's the thing. He doesn't have to talk to me. I don't know why he feel like he got anything to prove to me. I'm not the one that he needs to prove anything to. It's just really, the Lord is just really showing him where he is in his life right now. And he sees that everybody around him is prospering and, are where they desire to be. And yet here he is. And I feel like he's embarrassed about his situation. He's embarrassed of what he's going through. And he knows and understands that we see him for who he really is. So he continues to, continue with these lies and these stories, trying to make himself feel like he's in a better space than what he actually is. How some of those people be like, if you continue to tell yourself something over and over again, you'll eventually start to believe it. That's where he is. He's one of those. Sis said that too is enabling. We had to break my sister's feelings and confront her with her truth. You're not gonna pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. Listen, that's what caused our last blowout. When he called about this whole dementia thing with my dad, girl, we got into it real bad. I promise you, if we had have been like in front of each other, it would have been some hands thrown. You hear me? That's just how intense it was. Like, it got really, really bad. And that's when I was like, nope. I say, I can't do this, because every time I talk to him, I get angry. Every time I see his number come across my phone, I get anxiety. That's the effect that he has on me. That's how much I dislike that boy. I love him true enough, but I dislike the individual that he is, if that makes sense. Teresa said, I don't like when adult children lie about their parents having something as serious as dementia. That's a horrible disease. Absolutely. It's horrible and it's very selfish to the point. Why would you say that about your parent? And not only why would you say it about your parent, but the only person that you know to this day that will bend over backwards and do anything in his power for you. Anything. So I learned then, if you will do that to your dad, I know you don't care about me and I'm just your sister. That's your daddy. That's the one that has bent over backwards for you all your life and has given you everything. And if you don't love and respect that one and honor that one, I know you don't care about me. I know you don't care about me. That's all I needed to see. Sis, they sound like bro may be a pimp. Is girl. Is. Exactly what he is. How he get all that with no money or job or income, sis? Or did the women was buying it? That's why I say he is so charismatic. Like he can talk these stupid women into doing everything. And when I say every woman he gets, she's very independent. I'm talking nurses, teachers. They always are well off women. That's the thing. I can't even say it's these little young and dumb little girls. These women are like have really nice lives for themselves, have their own homes, their own cars. Like these are the type of women that he pulls. But by the time he's done with them, they broken, busted, and disgusted. A mess. Right, Miss Sim, Miss Wynn. Wow. Right. Exactly. Sis says, chit chat, but he's broke. So don't pimps make money, girl? When they got the whores that'll bring the money in for him. But that's what I'm saying. He's had women that work at the bank. Women have been fired from their jobs from stealing from the bank for him and all kind of stuff. He done had women managers that work at Walmart. Then he done sent people in and they half scan stuff for him to get him free food and anything he wanted. He that kind. And these are some of the dumbest women that I've ever seen. And they do this stuff. They've lost jobs behind him. They've lost their homes behind him. Like he's that Negro. Sharon says, no telling what type of lies he's feeding your dad. Situation can get tricky real quick. Stay on top of his ex. Exactly. And that's what my aunt and my uncle was saying. We know he's over there. He's was basically trying to turn dad against everybody, if that makes sense. He's trying to make him feel like none of us care about him, like he's the only one that will do for him and all of that kind of stuff. And my aunt said my dad made that comment once when she was talking to him, and she was talking to my dad, and he was like, well, don't nobody do nothing for me anyway. And she was like, I know that's a lie, because I know your daughter do for you. She was like, I know that's a lie. She was like, I don't know why you said that, but we know that's not true, because they know what I do. And he knows too. So he has done a really good job at manipulating my dad for sure. Teresa says, make sure your brother don't have access to his retirement pension. Like, girl, he ain't got access to nothing. And I think that's when he finally backed off, when he was talking about that whole dementia thing, when we got into it. And I just had to tell him, I said, know this. I don't know what you're up to. I don't know what kind of little scheme you're trying to pull, but don't nothing happen without me. I say my name is all up and through everything, every insurance paper, every life insurance paperwork. I'm his power of attorney for anything. Don't nothing move or don't nothing shake without me. I say, so know that. And I think that's when it kind of clicked for him, to see that he's not in control over anything and won't get a dime. So I think that's when it kind of clicked and he started to realize what's the point, basically. Sis say, bro has either mental issues or rug issues. I get scheming, but that's a whole different level of scheming. That's a whole different level of scheming. And the thing is, it may be some undiagnosed mental issues, sis, but the thing is, this is the type of person that he's been. This is the type of person that he's being. And the thing is, you would never know. That's what I'm saying. You would never know, because very smart, very articulate, all of that kind of stuff. So if there are some underlying or undiagnosed mental issues, you would never know. Sis says it's so hurtful. I've been there. Absolutely. Yes, Miss Wynn. Miss Wynn says it makes sense 100%. Yep. Um, Lisa says my brother had drug issues when he was carrying on, stole from my mother and everything. Even tried to make her quick claim her house. Girl, they'll do anything. And I feel like more than anything, he's desperate. And desperate people do desperate things. And when a person is really desperate and really lacking, they'll do and say anything, and they don't care who they have to step over or step on to get whatever it is that they need when they get desperate. And at this point, he don't have anything, so he's definitely at a desperate state for sure. Hey, Bridget J. Bridget says hey ladies, happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to you, sis. Thanks for stopping by. Lisa says, make sure you all stay on top of your dad's finances. These narcs have no low. Absolutely. I make sure I do constant credit checks with his credit, because the sad thing about it is my brother shares the same name with my dad, child. He's a junior. And big mistake. I feel like, honey, give them kids their own identity. So when situations like this happen, you don't have to worry about them destroying your credit and all of that kind of stuff. But they unfortunately share the same name, child. Sis says, I know it's hard, but don't let him win by getting into your dad's head. He wants your dad to only trust him. Yep, that's exactly what it is. He wants him to only trust him, to make it feel like he's the only one that care or will do, just because he feel like he's in the house with him. But he's not contributing financially to anything. He'll take him to the store, or he'll take him to a doctor's appointment or something, but you best believe he's not doing that for free. You best believe he's not doing it for free. Bridget J says, my goodness, sound like your brother is like some of my family, including my older brother. And isn't it sad? It's just really so unfortunate that you can bend over backwards and do all you can for these children, and they turn out to be these kind of individuals to you when you get old. That's real sad to me. Like, that's really, really sad, because there's no body in this world or nothing in this world that could ever make me be that type of individual to my own parent. Let just anybody, period, but definitely not my own parent. Like, you really have to be an evil and manipulative individual to even have the mindset to do something like that. And we say that there's some, like, could possibly be some mental illness somewhere, but these are some smart mental people. They may have some mental issues, but they some smart people, because they go through hell and back to get the things that they want to get out of people. So, girl, I don't understand. And I think it's just hard for us to wrap our minds around it, because that's not who we are. That's not, anything we would do, especially to our parent. And it's just unfortunate. You really have to be a low individual to do something like that to your own parent. Teresa say, Lord, I lift up Pink Diva and her brother to you right now. I ask that you touch her brother's heart, break every chain of lies, manipulation, and immaturity. Girl, we receive that. I received that. Thank you, sis. She said, Lord, cover their father with discernment. Open his eyes wide so he sees clearly the truth about his son's actions. Protect his heart and give him courage to make wise decisions. Amen. Thank you for that, sis. Thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. And you're right. You're right. And the thing about it is, like you say, we have to pray that my dad gets the discernment that he needs to see it, because we all are on the outside looking in. We see it. But it's so unfortunate that his love for his son overshadows all of that. Like, he see it, but don't see it. Or he see it, but don't want to see it. That's the stage that, that's the stage that he's in, honey. That's his namesake. And it's hard for him to see past any wrong that he can do. It's hard for him to see past any wrong that he can do. So it's unfortunate. Miss Wynn says, if it is a DSM-5 personality disorder, unfortunately, it is untreatable. Probably is. I don't think narcissistic behavior is treatable, is it? Because he bad. When I say I looked up the definition of a narcissistic sociopath, he checks off every last one of them, and that list was long. He checks off every one of them. And I was having that with my sister, and I was talking about that. She said it's sad, but her son, one of her sons, her youngest son, has those same traits. Her youngest son has those same traits. She was like, it's so sad that my son is showing those same narcissistic traits. But she continues to call him out on it, and he gets angry when she calls him out on it. They don't like the truth. They can't handle the truth. And how dare you tell them that they are something other than who they believe themselves to be. But it's quite unfortunate. It really is unfortunate. And I really appreciate each and every one of you all for your prayers and listening to my rant about that, because girl, that takes me into a whole other space. But all we can do is pray, and those of us who have those children, we're trying to love the bad out of. All we can do is pray and just give them to God. That's all we can do. Learn to love them from a distance, but pray that the Lord just at some point gives them the wherewithal that they need to see themselves in the things that they do and the things that they say, because that's all we can do. We can't save them. And one thing we won't be able to do is save them from reaping what they've sown. They have to go through those life experiences. There's no way they're going to be able to learn from the choices and the decisions that they make unless we allow them to go through it. So we have to just release them and allow them to go through it. And that's what I've done with my brother. I had to just release him to the Lord. That's all I can do is pray and say, Lord, just let whatever your will is be done. But I know that if anything happens to him, my dad would be devastated, which is why I just continue to pray and keep him lifted up too, because that boy is his heart. But to everybody that's had to deal with those types of situations, or you were in that type of situation, we continue to pray for each other and continue lifting each other up. Ms. Wynn says there are traits of personality disorders. Traits can be treated once they acknowledge their behavior, but personality disorder is something else. Absolutely. I had an aunt that had a personality disorder, Miss Wynn. Yeah, it's something else. It was something totally different. It was to the point to where my aunt, I remember years ago, she had a personality disorder. It got to the point it was getting so out of control that she was starting to want to try to jump on my grandmother. And they had to get her diagnosed and put her on some medication. So hers was getting real bad. But we just got to keep each other lifted. We just got to keep each other lifted, praying. Like I say, we're praying for each other. To everybody that's having to have those hard conversations with adult children that they are currently going through those situations with, and to all of us that had children we went through those situations with, and they're now on the other side of that. Kudos to us for setting the standard and praying for them and releasing them and showing them what it means to be a independent individual and living the life that you should live, but also going through the consequences of the choices that you make. And to those of you who've never experienced it, kudos to you. It's not easy. It's hard, but life lessons are there for a reason. They either make us or break us, and it's up to us to choose to decide which way we go with it. Did y'all enjoy the topic? I had a great time discussing this. I really appreciate y'all listening and listening in and sharing. And we just are amazed. I'm amazed week after week of how much and how similar we are and how similar we have some of the situations are that we've gone through. And, that's what sisterhood is all about. Teresa says, Pink Table Topics, if you have topics you would like to discuss, per Pink Table Topics, if you have topics you would like to discuss, please DM her and she will get back to you. Yes, if you have any topics that we have not covered, regardless of what it is, if you have any topics that you want us to talk about, because send them over. DM me over on Instagram and I'll definitely add them on the list, because that's what we are here for. We want to be able to talk about these kinds of situations so that we can kind of help each other maneuver through some of these things that we're going through, because it's education. It's, us sharing the experiences that we have gone through and some of the things that we've experienced. And, even just going through and reading comments through the chat, we're able to see, others that are going through the same things and how we're constantly helping each other by sharing, how you did what you did to get to where you are. Those things are very, very helpful. And that's why it's so important for, for you not to only just listen in, but also engage in the topic by commenting in the chat and just sharing. We listen and we don't judge. We all go through stuff. None of us are perfect. We're all trying to just maneuver through this life, this journey called life, and just trying to get by. It's already, and I tell people all the time, life is already hard. Life is lifing. From that orange man we have in the at the White House to everything else that's going on. It's so many, like, within our city within just the last couple of weeks, y'all. And summer was, the first day of summer was just this past Friday. If you were to watch our news and see how many teenagers have been unalived every single day, and I'm talking as young, they're 15 and 16-year olds, y'all, just really out here with these guns and pow pows, I should say, out here with these pow pows and unaliving each other for senseless stuff. A young girl that was just home from college, 19-year-old nursing student, came home and she went to a teenage party over the weekend and she was unalived. They were shooting in the parking lot and the bullets went inside of the little teen club that they were in, and she was one of the ones hit by the bullet and passed away. It's so much going on. It is so much going on, y'all. Like, we need to pray now more than ever. Like, we should pray every day, but definitely now more than ever. Like, it is so much going on. So we just got to keep each other lifted. We got to pray and ask the Lord to keep our kids covered, because we don't never know from one day to the next when we walk outside of this door if we're going to make it back in or not. We never know when our kids walk outside the door if they're going to make it back in or not. Like, this world is so cold. It's so mean. People are going through so much and dealing with so many things. You just don't ever know when a person is going to snap, or, you just got to be so tense when you go outside. Like, and if I don't have to go out there, I choose to be at home. I feel like home is my safe space, but you just have to be, you don't know who to speak to and who not to speak to. It's just, you just never know. And it's so, like, stressful because you don't know the mindset of people. Today, like, you can't even blow at a person in traffic that's about to swerve over and hit your car in traffic. We had a person get out of the car in the middle of traffic and shoot in a car that blew at him because he almost hit him and coming over on their lane. Like, that's the mindset of some of the people that we're dealing with in the world today. So prayer is needed for each and every one of us, just praying for our safety, our covering, so that we can make it home safely to our families and our loved ones. And to those kids that just won't listen, to what we're saying, we just got to pray and pray that the Lord keep them covered. That's all we can do. Sis said, amazing topic and discussion. Thank you, Divas, for pulling up to the table. Please make sure to share the video with your friends and family. We hope that you all enjoy the rest of your evening. Yes, yes, yes. Ms. Wynn says, Pink Diva, I appreciate your vulnerabilities and honesty because you're right. We're all going through something. I appreciate this community. Thank you, sis. That's what it's for. That's what it's for. It is so much. Sis said, yes, we do need to pray. Crazy world we live in. Absolutely. Sis Teresa said, did you finish them crab legs? Girl, you know she done told them crab legs up. Sharon says these different topics are a breath of fresh air. Thank you, sis. Thank you, thank you. I try to pull from stuff. We want to we want to talk about the gossip too, but I really be wanting us to talk about some stuff that get us to thinking. We're gonna talk about mess too, but I want us to be able to pull into topics like this because you just never know when people are going through stuff. And it just feels good when you have your sisters that you can talk to about it, and that you can vent. Like we are able to kind of release and vent and talk about some stuff that, we maybe can't talk to anybody else about, but that's what we're here for. So I appreciate you saying that, sis. My degree is real says today was so hot. I kept thinking I can't go to hell. I have to make it to heaven. Girl, let me tell you. I know that's right. Bridget J says, yes, it's prayer time. Thank you for sharing your story. You're welcome, sis. And it is prayer time. So we got to keep praying, y'all. Like sis said, pray without ceasing. April says, I love this topic tonight. These topics help me so much. I love to share. You never know how what we're going through can help somebody else. Absolutely. You never know. And these topics help me so much, you all, and just helping, seeing you all talking to each other and helping and sharing with each other. Especially you, April and Miss Wynn. I love like the commentary between the two of you and just talking about what you were going through with your son. So that's what it's all about. It's about building community. Teresa said, yes, between here and Chit Chat, we have no excuse to be depressed. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. We're going to talk it out and we're going to leave feeling better than we did when we came. And that's the goal. Gia says, this is a great topic. Thanks, sis. I appreciate you for listening in for sure. Sis says, yes, great topic. Ms. Wynn says, April, you definitely helped me. See, that's what it's all about. See, if we can reach and just touch at least one person, we've done something right, right? All it takes is us being able to say something and being able to reach one person. That means we were able to do something right. We were successful in what we sought out to do. So I appreciate it. I appreciate each and every one of you for rocking with me yet again. Lisa says, great topic. You see that it's universal, the journey we share. Yes, it's very universal. Very. Teresa says, reach one, teach one. Absolutely. That's always our goal. Always our goal. So I thank you, ladies. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are 2 hours and 16 minutes in. I'm getting ready to go eat me a tuna sandwich. I'm going to eat me some tuna and I'm going to relax for a little bit. So thank you, thank you, thank you again for joining another episode of Pink Table Topics. To everybody that was listening in, I hope you were able to drop down and hit the like button for me. Feel free to share this video with someone that you feel could use to hear what we were talking about today. We had some great conversations. I really appreciate it. And to the replay gang that'll be dropping in later, please make sure you hit the video, hit the like button, and drop down and leave some comments. Let us know what you thought about the live tonight, and share what you're going through as well. So we'll be able to learn from you and some of your situation as well. So again, I appreciate you all. I pray that you all have an amazing night. Shout out to Danya. Danya, we love you, sis. We still praying for you. And let's just keep everybody lifted. Keep all of our sisters lifted and keep praying for each other. And we're going to push through this thing together. That's what it's all about. We have a community of sisters that we can love on, that we can share with. And we are going to keep on lifting each other up. So again, thank you all for joining us tonight. I really appreciate each and every one of you. I love y'all for rocking with me. Y'all have been my day ones, and I really, really do love and appreciate you all for loving on me and for accepting Pink Diva and for rocking with me. I really, really do love and appreciate you all. Sis, you know I love you. Teresa, I love you. Each and every one of you in the chat, I love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And have a good night. Have a good night.